Welcome to It's Your Date with Destiny with Apostle Vivian and Pastor Jemma Duncan of Divine Destiny Worship Center in Diego Martin. For the next 30 minutes, join us as we take you on a journey of maximizing your potential and realizing your goals through Jesus Christ.
Why is it when you need a miracle, it doesn't happen, but when you least expect it, it happens?
You are married, you have challenges in your relationship, but your spouse is unwilling to accede to any counseling. Is divorce an option?
How does a parent handle a promiscuous child?
What are considered the do's and don'ts of a born-again couple who is not yet married?
There are always more questions than answers. So here is Apostle Jemma.
A pleasant good afternoon to you. Welcome to us, Pastor Jemma. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with me this afternoon. And we are continuing with a very important question. How could someone who has everything, and we have put everything in inverted commas, feel so depressed and despondent? And many people, even to the point of suicide. And those of us who are looking on the outside are a bit perplexed because we think that if we had what they have, then we would have been happy. We have started analyzing this whole concept of everything. What do we mean by everything? When we say that somebody has everything, what it is that they do have that we admire and sometimes are envious of them. And we looked at, I chose a few things that I would consider what is very necessary, to have. 5 things: wealth, success, good family life, good social standing, and good health. And usually when you have a package like this, it is expected that you would be happy. But many people forget that there is an internal part of us, that we are not just physical. As a matter of fact, the Bible defines the human being as a spirit, soul, and body. And many times when we say that somebody has everything, we cater for the body primarily. And then, the soulish realm, because that's where our mind is. So many times when we educate ourselves and all of that, you feed the mind, you meet the needs of the mind. And yet, that same mind is where the greatest battle is. And we miss the other fundamental part of who we are, that spirit part, that soul part, and so on. But we're going to talk about that a little later because we are still in the process of defining, based on the Bible, giving a biblical perspective on what the Bible describes as somebody who has everything. Previously, we looked at wealth and success. And if you're following me, we will conclude that both wealth and success are desirable, but the Bible has its own perspective on both wealth and success. In Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 18, God claims to be the giver of the power to get wealth. So God says, I give you the power to get wealth. So ultimately, if we acquire wealth, then we must give God praise because he is the one who gave us the power to get wealth, based on Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 18. The Bible also teaches that wealth should come from honest gain and is best sustained when it is gathered little by little. Proverbs 13:11 says, wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished, but he that gathereth by labor shall increase. The Bible also encourages us to use our wealth for the betterment of humanity and the furtherance of the gospel of Jesus Christ. So the Bible is not against wealth. When we talk about success, when we looked at certain scripture, we realize that the Bible puts the word good before success. So the world may have its own definition of success. And then the Bible says you must have good success. So it is possible to be successful and not necessarily have good success. Last time we left off, we started to talk about family life. And I intimated that many times we are envious of people who, in our minds, have a good family life. And it's only when we go behind the closed doors we realize that something is missing there. Because good family life to many people is the ability to provide for your family. So you have provision, they have all the things that they would need again. We're talking about physical needs and so on, and not understanding that there are certain elements of a human being that must be catered to as well. Most times, coming from somebody who has to deal with people, I realize that many times and most times the problem is that emotional disconnect. So you have very many people that I would look at and admire and, and so on. When they come to have a conversation with you, you realize that that part is missing. Children miss that emotional connection with their parents because many times in order to give them all that we feel they need, we don't have the time to be connected emotionally. And that's where there's a problem. Husbands and wives lose that emotional contact or connection. And that's a missing element. It may not be apparent to those who are looking from the outside, but if you are inside, then you realize that certain things are missing. All right, so I've gone ahead of myself, so I have to go right back. So this is just bringing us up to scratch in the event that you're a first-time viewer. But if so, my name is Jemma Duncan. I'm married to Apostle Vivian Duncan, and together we pastor Divine Destiny Worship Center. Our headquarters is located in Diego Martin on the Diego Martin Main Road, opposite Sardonynx Drive. We have branches in Sangre Grande, in Faizabad, in Shoguanas. We have a branch in Rio Claro. There's a branch in Tobago and one in Antigua. I want to start off by giving God praise for life. And you are viewing me, so you too can join me in celebrating life, giving God thanks for life. Death is talking not just our land, but the whole world. We have a problem, a crime problem, and so on, with a high death toll. And now it's compounded with this COVID, a pandemic that affects everywhere in the whole world. And every day we get up, we have to celebrate life. And so I want to start by giving God praise for life. I thank him for the privilege of talking to you now. I want to also publicly thank my husband, Vivian, for giving me the wings, allowing me to be me, allowing me the ability to express myself in this manner and many other ways. He has been able to help me bring out the best in me, and I love him and appreciate him for that. I thank God for children, Donald and Angel. That's our eldest child, first son, and Dion, Leah, Darian, and Daniel, our second son, and then Patrice, our daughter. Join Patrice. Her name is Jade Patrice, so you may see Jade on her website, the pkconnection.com, which is the website for her ministry offering for pastors' children, the pkconnection.com, and you're going to find all the information you want if you are pastor's child, grandchild, adopted child, or any such thing. Remember, Ask Pastor Jemma Radio 98.1 on Fridays at 2 p.m. Our new time is 2 p.m. Used to be 3, it's now 2 p.m., so spread the word around. Our services at Divine Destiny, they're still online, and you can catch us at ddwc.tv or on Facebook. Wednesdays to Fridays, 7 p.m., Sundays, 9 a.m. Right now, Apostle Vivian is preaching on the principles and practice of self-governance, and we're looking at the curative power of forgiveness. Very, 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 very important. If we're going to talk about quality of life, then forgiveness has to become a part of our lifestyle. And there's a manual of the same name, the principles and practice of self-governance, and you can call the church 633-3780 or shop.ddwc.church, and you will be able to get the manual online. The administrative offices are open from Monday to Friday from 10 to 3. The business center Monday to Friday, 9 to 3. That's TT Post, Copy Center, and Exhaustia Book and Gift Center. So let's get back to the question. How can somebody who has everything feel so depressed and despondent? I guess the person who sent the question, who asked it, would have been in a similar position, having acquired all that you dreamed of, and then realize that you're still as miserable as when you didn't have anything. And it takes all of that for us to understand that you can be happy, you can feel good without having everything. Because the people who have everything are usually the minority. Everybody has some area where you are lacking a little bit and sometimes plenty, right? And so we did a little preamble. So here we are, and we've come to good family life. So let's jump off from there. We talked about the emotional disconnect in families that are not apparent for those people who are looking from the outside. But in most of these cases, when much time and effort is spent in amassing wealth and acquiring all the things that we would like to make us happy, we often neglect our family time. And in the effort to provide for the family, because we actually are now able to give them all the things that we feel they should have. We give the children all the gadgets, all the latest clothing, all the brand name stuff. I mean, if it's a husband, the wife gets all the clothing, the travels, the jewelry. What do you want? Beautiful home, all the amenities in the home. And then we realize there's a missing element, that emotional connection we spoke about. And on the surface, it appears to be great, and everybody seems to be thriving until you go under the surface. In a book written by Gary Chapman, and the book is called The 5 Love Languages, he cited there the fundamental ways people feel loved. And the 5 things are words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and the physical touch. These are 5 things. If all I do as a parent, if all you do as a husband or wife is to give gifts, which are things, tokens of our affection, meeting the needs of our children or family by just giving them things, we are just meeting one need. And although different people tend to feel loved in different ways, the average person needs a little bit of all of these things. So I would say, generally, if you want to have a successful family life, successful relationships within the family, from time to time, we need a little bit of all of that. I can't tell you, I mean, I know which one is the top of my line. There are 2 that jumps out at me. For example, quality time is absolutely important to me, and physical touch, right? It's important to me. You can, all the things, I mean, and because I'm at this stage, I'm not a young person. So somebody who is much younger, a woman who is much younger, would probably think very differently to me, and that's fine, because you will say, Apostle Jemma, I want the things, right? At my stage, they are not really high on my totem pole. What else you want? What are you going to do with it? How many things are you going to acquire? You know what I mean? So at this stage of my life, I would like quality time and physical touch. So imagine I'm in a relationship and I'm getting everything I've already gotten, because we've been married for 44 years. And after over 44 years, you would have had what? Your home. I mean, it's 44 long years. You have to fix the house, get what you want, how you want it done, acquire things. And then you will realize when you look in this house and you start to try to get clutter free, as I'm trying to do at this age, you realize, how did you manage to acquire all this stuff? Half of these things that you bought, some of them you really didn't use very much and you didn't need. And so you realize that things in themselves cannot bring you the kind of happiness and joy and peace that you would like. So it is important, when we consider in family life, when we're talking about quality family life, we look for these 5 things. Let me tell you them again. Words of affirmation. How the family members talking to each other. Are we using uplifting words? Are there compliments going to and fro? Do we compliment our children? Do we applaud the little efforts that they make? We have to be careful not to compare them with another sibling. Some children do better academically than others. Some children are skilled. Some children are slower than other children. But we have to applaud our children for the efforts that they make. Gifts, absolutely important. That is how we define people, by all the things that they supply. Acts of service, doing nice little things for people, because sometimes it may not be an expensive gift, but some nice little thing that you would do just for that individual. For example, some people reach the stage where I like a neck rub or a good foot massage or a low back rub and all those things. At the end of the day, you're tired and it would be nice to lie down, prop your feet up and get it nicely massaged and rubbed and so on and so on. For me, that's wonderful. That's very desirable, right? And then we talked about physical touch, right? So we have to be careful that when you say somebody has everything, they may have all the physical things, all the touchable, tangibles, and yet some of these elements are missing. I just thought that I would say to you that Proverbs 18:21 says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof." So it means that I can speak life, I can speak death to my family member. Those are the things that we have to pay attention to. Another very important area of family life, the Bible has its own perspective on, is the area of our children and disciplining our children. We are going to start looking at Ephesians chapter 5 and 6, where Apostle Paul instructs us on family life. Remember, we're talking about how could someone have everything and still be depressed and despondent. And we reached number 3, family life. In Ephesians chapter 5, from verse 21 to verse 31, Apostle Paul instructs husbands and wives. In Ephesians chapter 6, verses 1 to 4, he instructs children and the parents. So let's look at the most I might be able to do is just read for you, and then we'll pick it up the next time we get together. So Ephesians chapter 5, from verse 21, it says, "Submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of the Lord," talking to husbands and wives. "Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body. Therefore, as the church is subject unto God, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. For no man ever yet hateth his own flesh, but nourisheth and cherisheth it, even as the Lord the church. For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh." And so we're going to deal with that the next time we meet. So you have to be with me next time. But Ephesians chapter 6 talks about parents and children. So I want to read that as well. And that is where we will go into a little deeper. If you're talking about good family life, this is what the Bible projects. This is what the Bible talks about as good family life. Not just a family on the surface having everything, but looking beyond the surface and going behind closed doors, going under the skin, as it were, and meeting the needs there. In verse 1 of Ephesians 6, it reads, "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise, that it may be well with thee, and thou mayest live long on the earth. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord." And so the next time we meet, we're going to go a little bit into this. When you're talking good family life, as far as God is concerned, we're going to talk about what are the expectations that God is looking for. Very different to what we view, because you can have a very good family life and not have lots of wealth, or not have be high up in the social standing, or you may not have success as some people would define success, and yet you have good family life. And I often say that the quality and the caliber of the family life that people would have had when they grew up and when they gather. I mean, when all families come together and they talk about stuff then you realize it was not the money, it was not the things. What they talked about most and most fondly were the times they spent together and those experiences that they, brought them together as a family. And so that's where we're going. You have to join me next time.
It will get better. Gotta get better. People all over the world. It's gotta get better. Oh, it will get better. I'm talking to some mother, can you hear me? Talking to some father. It gotta get better. It must be. It's got to be. God promised me.
A pleasant good morning to you. Have you ever said to yourself, I really wish I can understand the Bible better? I read the Bible, but I simply do not understand it. I wish I knew enough to share my faith. Sometimes I sit in the pew and I don't quite understand because the pastor uses so many scriptures. If you said any of these things, today I have the answer and the solution to your problem. My name is Jemma Duncan. My husband and I are the pastors of Divine Destiny Worship Center with our headquarters in Diego Martin. And we have a program called the School of the Bible that I would like to introduce to you today. School of the Bible is a one-year program for simple, regular, ordinary people who sit in the pews, whose only desire is to understand the Bible better. Since 2014, we've catered for a wide range of persons as young as 10 years old and the people into their 80s. So it's something that the average person can really understand and grasp. Although we cater primarily for people in the pews, we've had a few pastors who came and they felt that they should just sharpen up their information based on the Word of God. Since 2014, we've helped almost 400 persons, ranging from young to way into the 80s. The program lasts for a year. Every Tuesday from 7 to 9 we meet, and for 4 Saturdays for the entire year. Every quarter we have what we call a quarterly assessment meeting. We also have online facilities and we've been really blessed. We have had people from USA, Canada, Europe, the Caribbean countries, Tobago, and we actually have what we call a local online group or groups. It doesn't matter where you are, you can access School of the Bible. We have lectures, we have group reports, individual book reports, movies, training in all our presentations that we call 5-minute sermonette, PowerPoint presentations. I mean, you name it, we have it. And we cover a wide range of topics. Our main resources are the Bible and the 7 manuals, and I'm going to just quickly give you a sense of the manual. Volume 1 contains the overview of the Bible and the first 5 books of the Bible, called the books of Moses, the books of the law, or the Pentateuch. It goes from Genesis to Deuteronomy. Volume 2 are what we call the books of history, from Joshua to Esther. Volume 3 are the books of poetry, from Job to Song of Solomon. Volume 4, books of prophecy, and the books of prophecy are divided into the minor prophets, major prophets. The major prophets are from Isaiah to Daniel, minor prophets, Hosea to Malachi. When you come to the School of the Bible, you will get a further understanding as to why they are called minor and major. Shifting into the New Testament, Volume 5 are the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and the one historical book, the book of Acts. Volume number 6 are letters of Paul. They are called the Pauline epistles, from Romans to Philemon. And volume number 7 are the general letters written by a variety of authors, from Hebrews to Jude, and then the one book of prophecy in the New Testament, the book of Revelation. Other resource materials are available on request. We have them there. If you wish for them, they're not compulsory. You can request them and we'll order them for you. We want to give you a little example of what some of the volumes look like. And so we have the cover page for the overview of the Bible, the cover page for the book of Genesis, and the cover page for the comparative study of the gospel. Call us at 633-3780 for further information. A brochure will be sent to you with all the information you will need
I'm eagerly looking forward to seeing you in School of the Bible in 2021.
This is Pastor Donald Duncan of the Body Church, and I'm excited to share with you my brand new book, The Mystery of Time, Understanding the Time and Season You Are In. God has fit time into the continuum of eternity in such a way that it governs the human experience. In this, my 7th book, I looked from 7 different perspectives at the age-old question, what is time? I provide scriptural best practices for discerning God's timing and share effective tools for understanding the end times. Most importantly, I reveal through the life of Jesus the value of living according to God's schedule and tapping into the wisdom of the Holy Spirit for a revelation of the future. Pick up your copy today. You won't regret it. Available now at Amazon.com.
I don't want you to ever forget what Jesus said. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. Next time we are going to continue with how is it possible that somebody could have everything and yet be depressed and despondent. God bless you real good.